I am wrapped in blankets already for the stream.
Alright, welcome to the final week of the Opus Magnum 2025 tournament.
The tournament is over, everyone. Wrap it up.
The puzzle was Memory Lane, where you encode this 5-bit display element into 2-bit metallic encoding. And there are quite a lot of reagents given on this puzzle.
Oh yeah. You got a lot to work with.
With the special mod that Mr. Puzzle made. And the encoding editor. So yeah.
The encoding editor is so cool.
I've had a solution where the encoding editor putting 64 instructions onto my output glyph did slow down my solution, which is funny. Right. I imagine that's a very reasonable thing to end up with, but thankfully my submission has a few instructions to prevent that.
I mean, we don't count instructions, so if that's an issue, the easiest way to solve it is just double up your instructions.
Exactly.
Yeah, not having instruction as a factor in the sum was really beneficial in this puzzle because of how the
beneficial for the mod.
Yeah,
beneficial for the mod. Just double up your instructions. If you need a triple up or quadruple up, then what kind of solution are you making?
I won't answer.
Oh boy.
It did not work to double up. It needed to
boy.
triple. It needed to triple.
I can't believe Mr. Puzzle forced me to 3P my solve. Ugh.
Precisely. Thank you. You get it.
Right.
I can't believe this is a thing.
Right. So the main gimmick of the puzzle was that encoding was not given, so you need to devise your own encoding. And we will see what encoding people have used in this lower left corner.
We got a fancy. It'll show up when we look at the first solution. It's fancy.
Port is by Bist. HTML made by Bist.
Oh my gosh, yours is just walking directly one up equals one encoding up.
It also needs to be a bit smaller. It's a bit oversized on the board right now.
Wait a sec.
Just resize it with OBS.
Yeah.
But I guess this is what we're starting with. You can see the solution we're starting with.
The username void no menuing solution?
This is apparently this is speed solve, I think.
Okay.
All right.
I think that's a lot of area. Oh, it's counting the amount of time spent in game to build the solution. The menuing time isn't counted.
Oh, it's a speed run.
Yeah.
It's speed run notation. I see.
So clearly, username void used disposal, but did username void dispose everything?
So.
The asterisk. People are asking what the asterisk is. The asterisk is not applied to area, but applied to all of the metrics. Well, except for cost.
This
because what it implies is that
asterisk need to be there because this is not the triplet for the worst sum, but this is the worst cycles and worst area individually.
Is it?
It is, yeah.
Ah, okay.
So for all salt, it isn't actually making very much area at all because nothing is moving.
Well, I ran this solution, and you'll see why. You'll now see why area needs to be this large.
We're only using 4 fire. Is it gonna swing? Swing it! Yeah.
Ugh. So
This
what
is
is
a
it
speed
using
solve,
to?
alright.
What is it using to actually determine how many metals to upgrade?
This is
Well,
base.
now this is when we would read.
Tell me how it
I
works.
don't.
The note is base
I feel
2
like
to
this is
base
just
6.
yeah, it's a straight up add quicksilver according to how much fire is it, according to like first fire adds 1 quicksilver, second fire adds 2 quicksilver, third fire adds 4 quicksilver, etc. And if overflow, do some carrying.
Got
I feel
it.
like
So
this is what it does.
it builds out a fire stick equal to the length that the number is encoded. So it will
Yes.
build for test case 5 a fire stick of length 5, and then it will go unary back to base 6. Okay.
So yeah. You can see in the bottom left corner that this is basically the most straight up encoding that you can encode.
Yeah. It does an intermediate unary step with a length n fire rod that it then chunks apart into 6s, and it finds out the amount of fire mod 6 and amount of fire after division by 6.
And after
I'm gonna have to download the new solutions. I just found out that I'm on the wrong ones. Yeah, you go, Haxton.
no. It is not using 2 inputs per output as far as I can understand. While the output is made and the previous input is being pulled, this input corresponds to the next output.
Yeah, there's an intermediate unary stick, but it only builds that once. It can build it from one input, and then it chomps up that unary stick. How does it... Oh yeah, swinging. I was about to say, how does it reach tens of thousands of area, though? And the answer is swinging.
Swing.
Swing that thing.
Alright.
Big dick it, swing it around.
Shall we move on from the solve though?
Yeah, I think we can move on.
Mm-hmm.
We have seen method 1. We will be calling this the user name void method from now on.
Way to get your name on it.
Encoding 1.
Next up is by Hello Jasper. Quite a lot smaller.
Oh, I see.
Height.
This one, instead of having all of the sum be taken up by area, has it all taken up by
cycles.
cycles.
Hello Jasper's
It sure is
explanation of the
doing
mapping.
things.
If an input atom is salt, it does nothing. Start with lead lit. Atom 1 fire, project left by 1. Atom 2 fire, project right by 1. Atom 3 fire, project left by 2. Atom 4 fire, project right by 2. Atom 5 and Atom 4 salt, project right by 4. Atom 5 fire and Atom 4 fire and Atom 3 salt, project left by 4. Atom 5 fire, Atom 4 fire, and Atom 3 fire, project both by 2. The missed inputs
so
are,
it has...
The missed inputs are silver, lead, silver tin, gold, lead, and gold tin. This is because the left atom can only get up to silver and gold, when atoms 4 and 5 are both fire, while atom 4 already makes the right atom ion. Instead of conditionally using the quicksilver, it is more efficient to create silver and ion from atoms 3, 4, 5 and conditionally throwing away instead. Only atoms 1, 2 and both by 2 case from atom 5 have conditional quicksilver.
Is this when we get to show off the fancy feature I built into the encoding map?
Sure. Yeah.
I'm curious to see what it is.
This is the fancy feature. This highlights all the cells where atom 1 is fire. And atom 2, it projects right by 1, so you can see that the second, fourth, and sixth columns are highlighted. Atom 3 fire, it projects left by 2. Atom 4 fire projects right by 2. And atom 5 does some weird things. Weird conditional.
Atom 5 has a bunch of
yeah.
ands and ors with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all this time we've been talking about it hasn't made a single output.
It makes a lot of waste, though. Why does it say 127 area? Has it not been run with area, or is the amount of waste really that small?
It's just gonna keep on pushing that. I don't think that's a waste. I think that's a whole ass buffer stick.
Yeah, but it doesn't have a disposal.
know.
It doesn't have a disposal, and it can't use a second arm
true.
to put things back on input. So it is building waste.
One product and only 46 area. So
Okay, so it's actually reasonable
it's
with how
actually
much it
reasonable.
makes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't swing that thing.
And of course it doesn't. It's height conscious.
It's so height conscious that it doesn't have a disposal glyph. Even though that would save 100 or so points. Because Hollow Jasper is only going to make a height solve.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, next up. Random name 719.
Well, we haven't seen the output yet.
Yeah.
We haven't seen the output yet.
It output
no,
once.
it has been.
It output 3 times, yeah.
Oh wow, this is also a very simple encoding. You can look at how straight up it is.
It's like a transpose of the username void method.
Yeah. Except it skips a few. It skips different ones.
Oh yeah, also significantly lower points. This
We're already
song
down
is
to
actually
2,000.
Random name writes, I thought about making a good solve for this. Then I had mittens. Here's a simple-ish, slow solution with an extremely obvious method. I will take my 10 free points and very little else.
I mean, 33rd place gets you how many points?
300 over 34. Not 300.
But yeah, this is username's void was a bit. Username's void solve was a bit large, so it was hard to see what was happening.
300 over 62, so it is a little bit less than 5.
Okay, this you can see that it is literally counting.
Yeah, this is like the most direct solve that you can make. It is literally counting Quicksilver. You can see it count 1, 2, 3, 4. It's counting all right, and you can also see it do the carry action eventually. It'll do it eventually.
It overflows the gold.
If it overflows the gold, you'll swap it back to a tin, and that tin just sits there. That tin is going to sit there until the end.
Yeah, I like this. I like visibly watching it overflow and upgrade the next one. This is a upgrade if it has hit 6 of the other already.
This is the most clear solution that we're gonna be looking at. That is, you look at it and you immediately go, yes, this is what it does. It is counting. That is all it is doing.
It has 1950 cycles per 6 outputs, so it's something like 330 for 1 output. That's a lot of time spent back and forthing. Although if ARM1 has a 10 instruction loop and it is placing up to 32 Quicksilver, then yeah, that's 320 cycles per output plus whatever downtime.
ARM9 be moving. It's gonna be doing that 30. How many times? 31 times? Per loop?
Yeah, exactly 31 times. Alright. Next up. 32nd place. No longer breathed in. we have a new pattern here.
Oh,
Though
oh my.
this is actually a variant of the Hello Jasper's soul, I think. Hello
What?
Jasper's encoding, I think.
It doesn't have the straight up. It doesn't have the straight up grid though. Like the crisscross. It doesn't have the crisscrosses clearly, but maybe just because it's encoded into lower bits. You can
Yeah.
replace
I
it
mean-
into wildcards, Haxton, since you're not even using the encodings.
Yeah, you can always take a like bit permutation of the input or a metal permutation of the output and make it the equivalent encoding. So there's a ton of equivalent encodings that look different in the bottom.
Mm-hmm. All right. No longer printed in writes. I came up with the base algorithm 2 weeks ago and haven't changed it since, except for some permutations. And one change I will explain below. Here's the implemented algorithm: big endian numbering. Bit 0 if on boosts atom 1 by 3. Bit 1 if on boosts atom 0 by 3. Bit 2 if on
Haxton, you
boosts
should Haxton.
Yeah.
While reading the notes, if you're talking about bits, you should probably change the map.
Okay. Yeah. Wait a sec. Bit 0 if on boosts atom 1 by 3.
Except bit 0 is probably bit 1.
Bit 1 boosts atom 0 by 3. Bit 2 if on boosts atom 1 by 1. And bit 3 if on boosts atom 0 by 1. So this is, so the vertical is atom 0. And so the rows have the same atom 0 and columns have the same atom 1. Bit 4 if
Except
off,
they're all offset.
boosts both atoms by 1, except that if bits 2 to 4 are all off, it boosts atom 0 by 1 twice. The original
There's
idea...
also a chance that the encoding is backwards.
True. The original idea I had was that bit 4 would boost both atoms if on, except that it would boost one atom twice if the last 3 bits were 001. I changed it because the test for 000 was easy. I changed it because the test for 000 is easier. It also boosted by 1 instead of 3 and 2 by 2 instead of 1. The change was to minimize the number of distinct boosts that were by multiple atoms.
It's very reasonable to look at this problem and try to do this bit will upgrade this metal, but you can't do completely those conditionals because there's just not enough output space with only 32 distinct outputs of 36. You need to have some conditional that's based on multiple atoms. If you're doing it based on bits. And so then the question of how do you design the most reasonable to implement in Opus Magnum conditionals on multiple atoms? And yeah, No Longer Breathe In seems to have found the fact that if you do a test for multiple atoms being all salt, it's easy because you are just dragging a pole across a triplex glyph and nothing moving it is the answer for what you were looking for.
Right.
Yeah. It sure takes a while to do so, though.
Oh yeah, no, all these solutions at the beginning have had one of the metrics blown up pretty high, and this is a cycles one that's blown up pretty high.
It's taking its sweet time to do all the processing.
Arm 2 is the long pole.
Oh, this only has 6 arms, okay.
No, those 6 arms are doing quite a bit of work. Well, I mean, most of the 6 arms.
No,
We all
only
aspire to
arm
be
2
arm
is
5.
doing busy and everything else is pretty chill.
We all aspire to just be arm 5.
All right.
It moves a couple Quicksilver.
It's essential. It's essential. But it also can just sit there and browse their phone, probably.
All right. Next up, Mr. Royal Spade.
Ohio.
Good morning.
The voices.
We see here is another straight up solution.
One at a time. This one does
This
have
does
quite
not
a
look straight
balanced.
up.
This is quite a balanced number of. Okay,
What
so
is
the
this?
first thing
Oh.
it does is
Oh,
it's
this
making
is
a
how it
presence
counts.
absence encoding, and then it's grabbing a number based on that.
I see.
Oh,
So
but
it's
no
counting,
disposal.
but faster.
Oh,
Why is this better than who random name solution?
Because it is faster by 1,500 cycles.
I see.
It does so much in parallel, but gosh damn, there's a lot of waste.
It's using for Rivari's wheel. This isn't projecting. Well, it's projecting sometimes, but it's also using Ferrari's wheel instead of projecting to choose a metal.
Well, yeah, because it's not out in the Quicksilver storage buffer creating 168421. It's creating some different set of 42211, where there's also a salt in there, and I don't understand the purpose of the salt in the Quicksilver buffer storage. So yeah, there's a lot for me to understand here.
I mean, it can be a salt if it's just gonna be messing with the Rivari's wheel.
If it's just a wand, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll read the notes. Maybe that helps. He writes, "I'm very sick, so this is a very bad soul. I hope you have either recovered or recover quick. If you didn't, I hope you recover quickly. This solution converts the input from binary to base 6. The solve starts by grabbing X Quicksilver, where X is the value of the input. It then sets one metal as X mod 6, and the other metal as the remainder, to do modulo."
I feel like this does division by 6.
Yeah. To do modulo.
Haxon, try all fire. Yeah.
Yeah. All fire. Okay.
I want to see what it does with a shit ton of fire. I want to see what it does when all sticks are used.
To do modulo, my system divides by 6 repeatedly, making a chain of length X mod 6. The chain then rotates Ravari's wheel that many times. For the remainder, I just take the leftover stick and use it to purify a lead. To save sanity, I encode the 8th place and 16th place with salt instead of 6 Quicksilver. It's not strictly
that's what the
necessary,
salt does.
but I didn't feel like programming the division on 5 times, nor dealing with the geometry that would imply. I hope this X mod 6 and the remainder method will be better used by someone else, because this is tragic. Thanks for an amazing tournament, Haxton, although having no real cost puzzle is definitely the reason I have pneumonia right now. Thank you. Sorry
Haxton,
for
you caused Mr. Royal Spade to have pneumonia.
Sorry for being responsible.
How
for
could you,
pneumonia.
Haxton? Haxton, how could you?
So I'm looking at how the salts are used, and the fact that it has some large number of Quicksilver plus 3 salts. The salts each signify 6 Quicksilver so that they can implement high bit only upgrades, because there's the low bit that's coming from lead plus a bunch of Quicksilver that are being placed on the projector at the bottom, whereas the high bit is selected off of Rivari's wheel directly.
Although it does a bit of shortcuts in which if the stick is long enough, it just goes straight over. It doesn't actually need to be salt.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at it. It's setting up. It's encoding with 1, 2, 4, and then 2 Quicksilver and a salt, and 4 Quicksilver and 2 salt. So it is doubling in its own base 6.
My internet's been having issues today. It keeps cutting in and out. I hate it.
Oh, wait a sec. Should I?
No, it's my internet.
All right. No, like I just realized that my VPN is on, and that somehow doesn't cause problems?
That's interesting.
Evidently not. I can see your stream. I can hear your voice. I'm part of this, so.
Mhm.
All right.
I'm considering if I want to use hotspot for more consistent internet. I might do that. Because it's been cutting in and out a lot today.
All right. Meanwhile, I'll move on to the next solution. Anime. Right? Encoding is completely straightforward. The 5-bit integer is being converted into a 2-digit base 6 number, with the metals representing exactly the numbers you would expect: lead 0, tin 1, iron 2, copper 3, silver 4, and gold 5. What is this doing though?
But there's an animismus glyph, so like it's doing its fire conditionals
Oh,
by does it project,
alright.
does it combine with assault on an animismus? There's no triplex glyphs in this metal fire solve.
Amazing.
I don't think it needs to use a duplicator either. It's duplicating so that the only thing it ever
No, it
has
doesn't really.
is like salt salt or fire fire, but salt fire also doesn't make an animismus output.
Yeah. This is amusing.
Okay, there's already the 6's place is already covered by the Ravaris wheel, so it can be just done with this, I guess.
Animismus. Yeah, the animismus is a stand-in for triplex because who needs triplex when you have animismus? It's probably due to the fact that fire needs to be all out. There's an extra fire input. That's not even the reason.
I'm interested to see how all these solutions that are using Rovari's wheel are using it, because it's a big input and you have to spin it conditionally. So you can't grab the center and spin based on some condition. You have to like spin it from the outside and then move it over to the place where it would have been had you spun it.
You can move it and pivot it, I guess.
Yeah, which is basically what this and Roll Spade both did, is that they're permuting it based on an atom conditional. It just takes up a lot of space. And I guess in the context of these huge solutions, it's not a lot of space. But in my mind, that was like, Rivari's wheel is so much space.
It's chunky. We have chunky Moors. Now wait till you hear about chunky metals.
I guess thanks, Haxton, for giving us a Quicksilver that isn't in the center of Rivari's wheel. Unlike I did back in 2020, where a lot of people like,
Oh,
I want a
God.
Quicksilver input, so I'm going to do 6 disposals per input because this is a very
Oh,
poorly
God.
designed input space. Sorry, metal calculus unenjoyers.
All right.
Axon just basically gave us like, yeah, this is all the tools you will need. If you need, I doubt you would need more than these
you are
people.
developing a new codec in House Soria. They would provide you with this shit and more probably. But this
Yeah,
is
like
totally...
if you ask Haxon, can I pretty please have more inputs? He would probably give you more inputs.
Yeah, that's scary because we're trying to optimize for a metric, and if we have free inputs, then there's so much choices. We also already have a free encoding. Like, this is way open-ended compared to all the computation I've done in the past, and it got me solve blocked for like the better part of both weeks. I was trying to do something really clever with a SAT solver. It was like, oh no, I don't understand what I'm doing anymore. Quick, make a solution.
Biggie got analysis paralysis.
I really did. This is the least I've worked on a computation puzzle. But I also the most that I've done coding for a computation puzzle.
Yeah, Biggie's saying this, but we all know she's gonna get first place anyways.
I don't know. I don't know. I did well, I'm pretty sure, but still, it's weird for it to be my first solution.
Okay, what is this staircase ass thing?
Wait a sec.
Yes.
Uh,
We just
yeah,
opened up no
this was
longer
it.
breathed in
Yeah.
solution.
Yeah.
But John's encoding and John's placement, cool.
Somehow that
What is
happened, but I don't know
what
why
is
that
this?
happened. But yeah.
That is a funky graph. Somehow, like every single like metal is offset.
Oh. Okay, that's how it does it. All right.
Oh, it's
What
building
the-
every fucking possible pair, and it's just selecting one.
I see.
This is the fucking what is it called in Space Chem where we had that scientific binary. This is scientific binary. Build all the things and then one hot encoding choose which one it is.
Amazing.
Oh my god.
That's insane.
I
Alright.
like how the Quicksilver is the least useful thing in this solve.
The notes. I'm writing these notes on not a lot of sleep, so I'm sorry if they are not clear. Basically, my solve begins by going from the bit information stored as fire salt to a certain rotation of a salt fire pair. Then, with those pairs, it is easy to quickly increment the binary number by one, using on a big NOR gate the 5 duplicators. We check when the number reaches 0. In that case, one of the length 1 arms on the track loop will have a salt at the end and does not move the fire stick. This then leads to the metal side of the machine to output. The metal side just puts a different metal pair on the bonder next to output every 2 cycles. It does so by taking 2 Ravaris wheel and combine an atom for each one into pairs, and doing so 6 times, each time offsetting one of the wheels by 1 pivot. All in this leads to the encoding below, which, at least to me, doesn't really have a lot of meaning by itself. It looks pretty though.
Oh well, I mean, you can. Yeah, it does have quite a lot of meaning. It's telling me that the Ravari's wheel is being pivoted by one for each one of these.
This is definitely a pairs eyes emoji. We want to build all the pairs. This is so fast for being still so slow. Like it's doing so many things that you only have to do when you're considering period 2 track loops, which are usually very fast. But
Right.
it has
It's doing so
561
many
cycles.
things so quickly. Or I guess it's doing a whole lot of nothing real quickly. It's sending a lot. It's feeding the disposal very quick. Like this is a disposal limited solution. Look at it go. Nom nom. This method would be pretty good if you wanted to draw arbitrary pictures in the visualizer. True.
Yeah, this would be a pretty good method if Haxton gave us an encoding, but it was a randomly sampled one.
Try giving a different
Yeah,
spin.
people want to see multiple cases.
I'll give 0 on it. Alright.
Alright, the 0 is definitely just a whole lot of nothing.
I mean, it has all of those duplicate or calcified. Like, there's all those arms that are responsible for pivoting a fire
What
salt
does 0
wand.
do? 0 gives you gold tin.
Yep, it gives you what's there.
Which one is gold tin?
Well, because it's disassembling 2 Rivari's wheels, it doesn't actually put a lot of care into.
Yeah, no, it just the Ravari's wheel was given to me like this. It is put in this rotation. The solution still works if we rotate the Ravari's wheel.
Yeah, this is fun because you can have a different encoding depending on the Rivari's wheel. You can have a different encoding by just. I mean, all of these solutions will work if you flip input or output, but this is one of the only ones that has 6 additional symmetries based on just spinning Rivari's wheel. Is this fully periodic, or does it? I guess it was running for a while, so it's not 6p. It's doing all of its wand stuff with
this is
conditional
1p,
setup arms.
The solution is amazing. I love it.
Alright.
I actually haven't seen most of these solutions.
Next up, for you, Stairway of Mercury V2. Notes:
That's an interesting encoding.
amazingly managed to get some inspiration on the last day and shaped up 250 cycles. At first, the natural encoding I thought of was to treat the input as a binary string and the output as its equivalent base 6 string. This led to a solve using a 6-atom counting stick, where the stick is translated by one step every count, and every 6 counts the upper Ravaris wheel is rotated once to change the metal in the 6th digit of the output. However, in terms of optimization, the limiting factor in the way the sum is most likely cycles. Wait a sec. What? Ah, alright. Encoding.
The solve has no projection. It's straight up just using the Ravaris wheel.
Alright,
Use wildcards, yeah.
It has a wrong encoding saved onto the output glyph.
Yeah. Presumably from the previous one. Alright. The limiting factor in the way the sum is most likely cycles, so any solution that does the counting faster will get a higher score. In particular, the last digit of the binary string involves 16 iterations of the counting step, which is slow, especially because the counting stick possibly needs to be translated back at every iteration. In the final version, I managed to bypass this problem somewhat by realizing that one of the input binary digits can be used to partition the output space into 2 halves, and the remaining 4 digits can be converted into base 6. A binary string of 4 digits only requires 3 different values in the 6th place of its base 6 representation, so the upper Ravaris wheel can be split into 2 sets of 3 metals. If the binary number is 0 to 16, the metals used for the 6th place are silver, gold, lead, and if the binary number is 17 to 31, the metals used are tin, iron, copper. Since any one-to-one mapping is allowed, any orientation of the Ravaris wheel should produce a valid encoding, since the solve is only dependent on the relative positions of the metals. Thanks to Hexton for hosting this year's tournament. See you guys in the weeklies. Thank you for participating.
Also, I understand the graph now. It's just the 0 to 32 map. It's just the 0 to 32 mapping, but like one of the Ravaris wheels is rotated.
Yep.
That's the only difference.
Transcendental guy asking, why are we wasting Quicksilver when we could use salt? Quicksilver costs 100 times more. In this bonder debonder only solution, every atom is equivalent except for Rivari's wheel. I guess it's triplex, so fire and salt.
You know, it probably would have been better if it just used stab fire, because that's 2 per pool.
That's a good point. Being able to build the stick slightly faster.
Yeah.
Right. Alright, next up. Emma. 1006 points.
Ooh, we're
This
still
is a
4
flip
digits, but we're getting there.
This one's a flip encoding. I can recognize these by just the maps.
What do you mean by a flip encoding?
I'll read the notes.
It flips the output based on it flips the output based on conditions.
Flip encoding is more obvious on this encoding, this display. So there are identical pairs on these 16 cases, but one is flipped conditionally. One pair is flipped conditionally, and the other is not.
Got it. And you can't have one bit decide to flip things fully, because if you only take the symmetric outputs, there are not 32 symmetric or asymmetric outputs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's only 30 asymmetric.
Are very easy to Flip encodings are very easy to recognize in the graphs because they have these like very obvious T shapes.
Okay.
So the notes are just the explanation. Notes are just the internal workings of the encoding. Digit 2, add bit 4 to digit 2, add bit 5 to digit 2, add bit 5 to digit 2, add bit 3 to digit 1. If B2 is on, D1 add 4 to digit 1. If B1 is on, and if B2 and B1 both are on, flip the two digits. Else, add bit 3 to digit 1, add bit 1 to digit 1.
Yeah, you can show the encoding map for this one since it's talking about the bits. The bit filters on the encoding map.
Right. So this is bit 5 is added to digit 2. Wait, bit 5, bit 4. Wait a sec.
There's a highly likely chance that it's inversed.
Yeah.
Just because somebody flipped the output or started counting bit 1 from a different direction.
I guess this is the bit 5.
This
is the bit 5, yeah. And this is bit 4. And bit 3 is added to the digit 1, so rows are the same. And bit 2 and bit 1 determines the bit 2 and bit 1 determines whether it is flipped or not. And this little rectangle, all cases in this rectangle have both bit 2 and bit 1 on, or the bit 4 and bit 1. Yeah.
So if both of those are on, anything in this rectangle is transposed.
Let's
from the just straight lines.
It's interesting to see it being done, though, via Rivar's wheel manipulation. I guess incrementing a metal in Rivar's wheel automatically rolls back over to lead.
I don't think this one's gonna flip, is it? No, I don't think that one's gonna flip. I think it's the other two.
All right.
Is it? Oh, no, it is these 2 bits. Never mind. Yeah, it's 4 and 5. 4 and 5 are both on. It will flip. I just can't see when it does flip. It happens.
It does. It outputs at 2 different times. It outputs it one time, and then it does pivots with the piston arm, and then it outputs at a different time.
Yeah. This is the off. You can see it. Yeah.
2 different drop commands on the output, and they're both being done by, I believe, arm 1, the piston.
All right. Next up, 26th place, Michira, sub 1000.
Nice. 3 digits.
Sub 1000. Let's go.
And
do we see 2 digits later?
Oh boy.
Yeah, this one was a mess. This one was the first encoding that I truly struggled to understand. It'll not be the last. But
well, I can see that bit 1 is doing something very simple at the very least. Because I can see very clear 3 line. Yeah, bit 1 is doing something very simple.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of everything
is a mess. Bit 1.
So there's a lot of ands and ors.
3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first metal is determined as follows, and there's 8 lines of conditionals. And then the second metal is determined as follows, and then there's also 8 lines of conditional.
You want to read the conditionals?
Like if E and D and C are all 1, it is lead.
Oh, 8 line of conditionals, as in just 8 different kinds of metals.
Yeah, 8 lines of conditionals.
But that's not even 8 metals.
Yeah.
There's not even 8 metals when we're talking about. There's 6 of them. 7 if you count Quicksilver as a metal, but
yeah, but I guess there are multiple different bit patterns that map to the same lead or the same metals. So it can say like this leads to lead, this also leads to lead, this leads to silver, this leads to copper, and then it just happens that there's never a collision where 2 different encodings lead to the same pair, even if there are different encodings that can lead to the same initial metal for different reasons.
Like
this feels like not enough diversity. Slap another conditional on. Still not enough. Slap another conditional on.
As I understood it pulls 3 metals, and there's at least one step that chooses which metals to use, as the first metal, and the third port metal always becomes the output.
Well, it's very straightforward to see it generating its bit conditionals as presence absence wands, and then it's just a question of what logic gates it is doing on pairs or
Yeah.
triads of those bit wands before it starts putting things onto the output. And you can see a couple of triplex glyphs in the upper middle right of this solution that it's doing a lot of AND gates, and it's copying bits because it's grabbing multiple instances of each one, so it can do all the regular combinational logic. It found an encoding. It's been interesting to see no one's using the encoding I found, but there's a lot of different ways to do some combinational logic.
There's like about 15 duodecillion encodings. It's kind of hard to
I've
have the
seen,
same one as another person. But
yeah, but
at the
even
same
even
time,
once you
we've
take
seen a
into
lot of
account the
people
different
use
symmetries, yeah.
Then again, we've seen a lot of people just use straight up
Like there's also
binary to
Unary.
hex conversion.
the guilty bystander also have been mentioning the solution family encoding families. So
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of, I mean, you can permute the bits, you can invert the bits, you can permute the metals, you can invert the metals. I think if you just take account those symmetries on their own, it already reduces from duodecillions to just like 11 decillions, whatever you call that, undecillions.
Yeah, but this one is probably just gonna. This one I'll probably just
I'm
call
going to move
logic
on
gate
to
solution.
the next solution. You guys talk.
It is a shit ton of logic. This one's a shit ton of logic gates, and
You can
those
save
shit ton
logic
of
gates and
gates-
therefore save metric points.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is the most expensive but fastest so far. It's finally
Yeah,
kind of
this is
prioritizing
speedy.
speed.
What was this doing? Right. I also have figured out this one and posted it in the hosts only channel. X equals 3 by not D plus C plus result of addition. Y equals E plus result of addition. And the result of addition is calculated by 4A plus 2B plus 2C in hexamol.
We're really out here purifying metals. We're really out here purifying metals.
The Quicksilver was busy doing something else, and we don't want to pull a Quicksilver from Rivari's wheel. No, who would make us do that?
I also love that there's triplex bonded salt waste sheet.
So
What
this is where
happens with that bonder on the left?
I think. Yeah, this does nothing. Yeah, right.
Okay.
It might just be a we can't use Grimbot moment. I don't know. It's just there.
It's cool how visibly converting to a presence absence conditional is being done. Like, there will be an atom there. There will be no atom there if it is salt.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the solution is just using purification instead of Rivari's wheel because it has the time to do so while the fire is counting.
Yeah, it's grabbing a lead plus copper pair to use as the do I do a +3 on this metal or not, which is interesting because
yeah.
Oh,
So I'll show it while
Technically.
reading the formulas again. X is first atom is 3 multiplied by not D plus C. Wait a sec. This is this? No.
Don't tell me it's
Oh,
backwards
wait a sec.
again.
I'm confused.
Look, it's way too easy to just flip the input and not notice that ever happened.
So this
It
is
should be
E,
the right
this is
graph.
D. Yeah, right. X is 3 plus 3 multiplied by not D plus C plus result of addition. Y is E plus result of addition. And addition is done by
Is this the right graph?
4A plus 2B plus 2C in hexamol. Opus, what were you saying?
Is this the right map? Wait, press home key.
Isn't it?
No, this is a different map from what we were looking at before. What was that one?
Oh, wait a sec.
You just moved to someone else's map.
Okay, this happened again. Alright.
How the fuck did that happen?
So this is X3 multiplied by not D plus C.
Oh, you pressed
Yeah,
F9 already,
F9
but didn't
already,
press
yeah.
F10. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, not going. I'm not doing it again. Alright.
And
Plus C
then you have
plus
to do it
result
again because you were
addition.
doing it on the wrong
Yeah.
encoding.
True. Y is E plus result of addition. Addition 4A plus 2B plus 2C in hexamol. Okay. Alright. 24th place, the owner of the mystery encoding, X occur triple 8.
Yeah, don't press F9 early.
Yeah.
I didn't count for that.
Who writes? The input is split into a 2-atom string and 3-atom string, each one corresponding to one metal in the output. Triplex is used to move each string out of the way before it... Oh yeah, also the drop.
I'm looking at the metric points come down. That's cool.
Triplex is used to move each
24th.
string out of the way before it is used to transport quicksilver, meaning salt equal 1, fire equals 0. Each string is used read in reverse, so salt, fire, fire corresponds to the binary number 01001. The number for each string is the number of quicksilver added to the metal. If the 3-atom string is 110 or 111, 6 or 7, there are too many quicksilver to be stored in a single metal. So they are special cases. The overall string would be 11XX11X, meaning there are 8 special case inputs. Luckily, gold and silver have yet to be used as the first atom of the output, so they are used to mark the special case outputs. The original first atom from the 2-atom string becomes the new second atom, and the first atom becomes gold if the string ends in 0, and silver if the string ends in 1. This leaves the 4 unused output strings as the ones that use only silver and gold. Let's see it flip.
You can see from the T shape, or I guess an F shape here, is that this is another flip encoding. What is theory min weighted sum? No clue.
Well, it's minimum of the different components added together, and there's a minimum cost of bonder, debonder probably is fine. Minimum cost for this would be freaking crazy.
Yeah, but like Transcendental Guy is asking what's theory min sum?
Yeah, well, okay, some theory is a meme, yes, but I was thinking about like what is theory minimum of each metric on its own, and then just add those up.
I see. Got the calculating the cycles one.
You need bonder, debonder, and something to do conditionals with, because just bonder, debonder, there's no presence absence built in.
Cycles are gonna be the hard one to calculate.
But I guess bonder, debonder, triplex is sufficient. Is triplex bonder only and then debonder sufficient?
Are you assuming? I guess with Rivari's wheel, it's probably sufficient.
Yeah. I'm not imagining we need to ever upgrade a metal because we have an input with all of them. Oh, you also need to deal with waste, and there can be metal waste. You're right. Hal Jasper's right.
Well, I mean, waste is free.
Oh, true. Disposal's there, but even if you debond, place it in there. You don't have a way to conditionally influence Rivari's wheel if you're using triplex, and you don't have a regular bonder.
True.
So I think it's at least 40 gold of glyphs, and then 1 arm. Yeah, I think 60 is min. If you can find a viable 50 or 40, then insane.
Oh yeah, this is one of
And
the
then
flip cases.
Oh yeah, no, it's very obvious from the left, from the encoding map. This is a flipped one.
Mm-hmm. No, and then it. No, I'm showing the way it flips. All right.
Yeah.
Next up.
oh, it tries to put a 3-atom piece on the output.
Mm-hmm.
It tries to put a 3-atom piece on the output in the flip case. Yeah.
Technically not output conditionals.
Yep. If you have something that doesn't fit,
This
it
is
goes.
not output conditional. All right.
Pastor of Muppets. 42 Genius 42, you're funny.
I don't know the reference.
There's a Metallica song called Master of Puppets.
I see.
And so we've just decided that Pastor of Muppets, which is hilarious as a set of words.
All right. The first.
I think this is also a flip.
Yeah. The first
No,
few
don't
tens
think
of
so.
lines
Is
are
it?
This is a flip encoding. Yeah. I'll show you the
Yeah,
one of
alright.
the cases in it.
I guess triple
don't
X
know.
sounds too naughty.
Oh, triple X. Oh, that's why. It's not censored for me. Oh wait, I have censors off. That's why.
Like, I think like triplex head came up several times before in this chat, so I think I have that in the allowed words filter.
I just have all censors off. Y'all can just curse in my chat and I won't give a damn.
I don't give a fuck.
All right, 42 Genius 42.
So what are the
writes,
bits here? Yeah.
Something something something, and XX with XX being 00011011 to lead, tin, iron, and copper for right hand side atom. If first two atoms are 10, then left atom is gold. Else, if first two atoms are 11, then left atom is silver. And if middle atom is 1, then swap output atoms around. Else, translate something XX something something 00011011 to PB to lead, tin, iron, copper. So if this,
I feel like these notes will be so much easier to interpret by actually reading them.
no, that's how it's written.
Yeah, I know. Like actually reading them, as in reading them with my own eyes and not listening to them.
True. It was a tough assignment, yet somehow I managed to get it to work. A lot of clunky fiddling to avoid collisions, and this was chain waste. I'm sure further improvements could be made, but getting the bloody thing working in all cases without collisions was my priority. Managed to tweak and improve slightly since first submissions, even managing to get budget encoding under 1000 cost.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Can we look at the bit filters?
Alright.
Might as well just look at the bit filters of all of them.
So yeah, the last two digits determine the right side atom. And if the first bit is not 1, then it determines the... If first bit is not 1, then it determines the left atom. But if first bit is 1, then... If first bit is 1... first bit is 1 and middle bit is 1, then it flips.
So 1 and 3 are the determiners.
2 is just involved in producing silver, but that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next up, chickens in the attic. Non-looping version. There's a looping version somewhere. This is a non-looping version. This is the
I have to go
looping
take care
version.
of my dog. I'll be right back.
All right.
Sort the base 2 to base 6 conversion. Instead of the input being processed as an ordinary binary number, the order of the values of each bit is jumbled up. If you jumbled up the word maths the same way, you'd get STHAM. Is it Biggie or Bist? Biggie. Okay.
That's Biggie.
Wait a sec. Mute Biggie.
Make sure to unmute Biggie when she's back.
Yeah. In other words, instead of the standard 16-8-4-2-1 bit order, input is interpreted in 1-2-8-4-16 order. Output is in standard base 6 of the custom input value with lead as 0 up to gold as 5. So this is the 16-bit, 8-bit, 4, 2, and 1. Okay. For example, an input value of binary... Yeah?
Oh, I was just going to say that's very clear when you turn on the bit filters.
For example, an input value of binary 10101 would traditionally represent 1 plus 4 plus 6... 1 plus 4 plus 16 equal decimal 21 and map to hexamer 33, copper. Under this encoding, it would be 16 plus 8 plus 1 equal 16 plus 8 plus 1 mapped to hexamer 41, silverton. It is still a unique 1-to-1 mapping and so is valid for this machine. Best shortcut is the 16 and 8 bits are not handled as individual increments. Instead, the 16-bit is taken as increment the 6 hex bit twice, increment the 1 hex bit 4 times, and the 8-bit is taken as the increment the 6 hex bit once, increment the 1 hex bit twice. This saves on 15 individual increments. Overflows are also slow. If you process the... wait a sec, I'll mute you. Because they're being
Welcome
echoed.
back, baby. Yeah, you're echoing.
That's weird that there would have been echo, because I had... My headphones and my microphone are separate and they're far away from each other.
Apparently, they were too close to one another. That there were some echoes.
Sorry about that.
Overflows are also slow. If you process the bits in the traditional order, you get 8 points where an overflow might be required. If you go in reverse, you get that down to 4. If you use the above positioning, you get down to 3. Those points are: after the final upgrade from the 4-bit, the 2nd-bit processor. After the final upgrade from the 8-bit, the 3rd-bit processor. After the final upgrade from the 2-bit, the 4th-bit processor. This is 2-bit, 4-bit, and 2-bit, 4-bit, and 8-bit. There's one opportunity.
Yeah, this is very...
Speed up on overflow as well. Processing of the 8-bit can increment the 1 hex bit twice first, and then while the potential overflow is being processed, the upgrade of 6, the hex bit can happen simultaneously. Little bit of parallel processing saves a few cycles. Waste is still an issue. I do have a clean version of this where fire salt and gold waste the wicked over to dispose of it, but it has a worse score, so here we are. All right.
Yeah, this is just counting with optimizations. That's what it's doing.
It's impressive that it's this low then, with its cost and area low, and then cycles is 437, where we saw some slow counters first.
Yeah, and it's doing optimizations with the counting, and that if it's 8 or 16, it just immediately updates the larger the larger metal instead of like doing it 8 times like we've seen in the other counters.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, some of those did that too, but this one's just the compact version with just Quicksilver and basic carrying. And like the reason it doesn't just look like the basic counting maps is because the bits are all jumbled. It still works, but you know.
All right. Next up is my playtest soap.
Let's go, Hexton playtest.
It was painful. You'll see why.
Whoa, cycle count 146?
Yes.
Beady.
All right. Yeah, but this is...
Oh, and having the output with the yeah, you weren't able to get it down to 64 or fewer instructions per tape loop either.
But yeah, this is a flip encoding, and one side is using the Ravaris wheel.
Oh yikes! Rivari's wheel outputting. Not outputting, just disposal of Rivari's wheels.
Yes. It starts at gold and pivots by 4, 2, 1 depending on whether bits 1 to 3 are fire. And if bits 1 and 2 are both fire, flip the encoding molecule, as you can see here. Yeah, that's it.
This is flip encoding. Straight up.
Flippin'.
Next up. CrazyBot 27. Small.
Schmolle. It's 83 area. What is this encoding?
I believe the best encoding is the friends we made along the way, Beast. Due to recent happenings in the community that I'm sure you all are aware of, I didn't spend as much time on this puzzle as I wanted to, sorry Hexton. Still, I'm quite proud of what I made, especially when I compare it to the mess that was my week 4 solution. I can feel just how much I've improved since week 1. Huge thanks to Hexton for a great tourney, and also to the whole community for just being such amazing friendly people. I couldn't have asked for a better experience as a newcomer. Good luck to Kazian and Sergi D as they battle for the top spot. And see you all in the weeklies, hopefully. Explanation below. I tell you not to read it, but I know you will anyway.
This is just jumbled counting.
Yes. This
it looks
is
like jumbled
counting,
counting,
counting, but the 16-bit is instead 18. So that's... Yeah.
It's just jumbled counting, so it's like chickens in the attic. Alright, good to know.
Each bit from right to left are 8. Wait, from right to left. Okay, 8, 18, 2, 1, 4. Yeah, 18 is used as instead of 16 because it's friendlier to the hexamode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 18 is that easier to use. 18 is just update the top one thrice. So, you know, when you're processing the 18, you don't need to process any carries.
And I'm not
You only need to process carries when you're adding, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to read the next 2 paragraphs, sorry. But yeah, that's the gist of the solution.
It's like
Can we see
chickens
it
in
on
the
another
attic
input?
Alright.
But this is like chickens in the attic solve, but it does the optimization of not doing 16 but doing 18 instead, because 18 is just updating the higher metal three times.
Let's see what 18 looks like on this one. Oh wait, okay. So salt is 1, fire is 0. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely
Oh.
using the plus.
All right. Are you sure this is the right one? That looked like 8.
From right to left, 18. Okay. Right. Arm 10 and 9 decides which metal to project.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And the good thing about that is with 18, you don't need to care about processing the carries because there's nothing being added to the lower bit.
Let's see what it is like when everything is 1.
How does it get there?
Okay, that's a carry. Okay.
It's doing so many conditional, what if I have to carry right now? What if I have to carry right now? And then it just makes that gold waste chain that goes through the disposal arm so that it doesn't have an area counted until it's made a bunch more. So if it has to carry a lot of times, it slowly takes up area.
I mean, this is the most it'll have to carry. Because
Yeah.
all of them are salt right now.
So it kind of only uses 1 extra area if it has to carry.
Yeah.
And maybe not until after its output. So it might literally
doesn't even use up extra area because the waste
nice
chain
because it's
fits here.
waste after output.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Oh, it's 6p.
Not even 6p.
Oh, it's waste after
just,
output. It's just waste after output.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, bubbling, sub 600.
Top 20, sub 600. It's quite the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone making
This
guns.
looks like flip encoding.
This is
Everyone making
this
guns.
this looks like flip. Yeah. Bit 1, 2.
See, this is why I said
3,
like this is a better method of showing the graph.
5.
Instead of fire counting, because fire counting means almost nothing
Mm-hmm.
within this puzzle.
Depending on the encoding you use.
Like fire
Well, I
counting.
mean,
like fire counting.
But you knew what the
makes sense.
dominant encodings actually were.
but like, you know, the bit positions always will have to matter, but but the amount of fire doesn't always matter.
Like
Fair.
fire counting makes sense lore-wise, but the
Fire
bit
counting makes
is-
sense if you just want to see like more fire is more red. That looks nicer. That's how fire counting makes sense. But in terms of the actual encodings, what's more important is this bit fire? Is this bit fire? Is this bit
Mhm.
fire? And is this bit fire? And not how many fires are there.
What is this doing?
Oh, I don't know. It's a flip encoding, I think. It's doing it somehow.
Talk us through it. Notes.
Notes.
Does it have notes?
Notes. My solution takes the input string and feeds it through a binary encoder. But with a funny position value order, the first atom gets read is worth 4 quicksilver, the second 2 the third 1, and this determines the first metal. The last 2 atoms are worth 1 and 2 quicksilver respectively and makes the second metal. So the first atom, second, third, and the last one is last 2 atoms are worth 1 and wait a sec. Is this correct one?
Is this bubblings?
Yeah, this is bubblings. Ah, okay. This is the first metal. I see. This is second and this is third. Fourth, fifth. So yeah, flip. Input is flipped. Yeah.
All right. When is input flipped?
Yeah.
When is the input flipped? What's the conditions for input flipping?
No, like the
Not input.
input is on the
Output flip. What's the condition for?
output
Yeah. What's the
flipping.
condition for output flipping?
Now, if the first three atoms have combined value of 6 or 7, I subtract 2 and swap the order of the metals outputted. So
All right.
this is more than 6, then it flips.
I see.
Is the flip the thing that is being done by piston 9?
Is 19
Where it takes the first metal.
Yes.
It takes the first metal and it moves it back onto that debonder so that it can go out second. Yeah, so arm 9 is handling the flip. If it ever holds an atom, that output is flipped.
Oh, so that's why arm 10 has the output twice.
Yeah.
Right. I'll keep reading the notes. I had a few ideas about what encoding I would use, with my first one being to try and implement the basics double-double algorithm, but after brainstorming a bit, I settled on this. If less than 6, then sub 2 and swap approach instead. If more than 6, then sub 2 and swap approach instead. This puzzle was made slightly more difficult for me by the fact that I didn't want to try to get into modding OM, so I just used the provided stabilizer fire and some easily modifiable instructions to build the different input cases and test my solution that way. This is the puzzle I had the most fun with out of every puzzle I have made. At first I only expected to make a solution and have that be the end of it, but I had the optimizing nag, and then through a stream of small improvements, somehow ended up shaving off 76 some over the course of a few days, landing it squarely in the sub 600s. Giving this solution, which I actually feel proud of having made. I will not doubt the wizards having made much better this time, so I excitedly await to see just how low this game will go. Thank you for having me, and thank you for a very fun puzzle. Well, thank you for having me. Alright. Next up, Cavalier.
This looks like flip again.
Yeah. Bit 1. Alright. Which is bit 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. He writes, this solution's encoding was based upon a much faster design. The basic idea for the encoding starts with the idea of binary coded decimals. If the first atom is solved, the remaining 4 can be split into pairs, and each encodes one metal up to copper. The order of lead, iron, tin, copper just happened to be what was easiest for me to code. Importantly, this binary coded metal requires minimal state. You don't have to worry about division or carry bits or any of that nonsense. How to encode the remaining 16 values though? My breakthrough came when I realized the remaining 16 would all have either silver or gold. When the first atom is fired, the second pair encodes lead, iron, tin, copper as usual. However, the meaning of the first pair changes. One of them indicates whether to create silver or gold, and the other will invert the output if it is fire. These pieces of state get encoded on the output metal itself, allowing the output mechanism to perform the conditional logic.
So that's why the silver and gold columns are so dark.
Yeah, it's because the first bit left to right is all in the top 16 left quadrant, and then the rest
Yeah.
of the 16 are the flip encoded. This is
Yeah.
actually the most straightforward flip encoding I've seen, mostly because the bits are read in an order that reads really nicely on the chart.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I want to see it flip.
Do the flip. Do the flip.
Oh yeah, there's a quicksilver attached to it. All right.
Flips. Okay, that's how it flips.
And it still ends up having to make waste in the bottom because of the disposal being only one thing in one place. And there's so many different places in this submissions where you have
Yeah.
want to make output go away. It was so hard to route disposal for a fast solve that doesn't make too much waste.
This one is next up is Vilpok. And
Soon TM.
no pattern whatsoever.
There's a pattern, it just doesn't look like it.
This processes the input atom by atom, starting from the most significant bit. When it processes salt, the two index wheels get yoinked. When it processes fire, they don't and they spin in place. The numbers of spins when fire compared to salt are the following. First pulled atom, left plus 4, right plus 3. Second, left plus 4, right plus 1. Third, left plus 2, right plus 1. Fourth, left plus 1, right plus 1. Fifth, left plus 0, right plus 1. Note that
You gotta post that in Discord. It doesn't actually open up on a browser.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't?
No.
What the fuck is this encoding? This is Rivari's wheel spinning. This just spins the Rivari's wheel depending on which fire we're processing right now, and that's all it does.
Mhm.
Except the amount it spins is optimized somehow.
And it is optimized via the use of Python script. Alright. First, second, third, fourth, and fifth atom.
At least the fourth one makes a bit more sense. The fifth one kind of does too.
Mhm.
You can see that in the encodings, in the encoding map, they're kind of the same thing, except the right half of the solution
Right.
is shifted by a certain amount. The right half of the encoding map is just shifted by a certain amount.
Yeah, this is the encoding. Alright.
Like, Haxton, can you just open like bit, I think 4 or 5?
What, bit 5? This is bit 5.
Yeah, bit 5. It's I gotta wait for stream delay for it to show up. Yeah, you can see that it's kind of the same pattern but just shifted. With blacked out parts in between, that makes it even harder to decode. The left side and the right side are kind of the same thing, except they're, you know, kind of shifted a little bit.
This is bit 4.
Bit 4 is just horizontal lines, I think. Yeah.
Bit 3.
This one's not shifted. Guilty bystanders saying, can you post your rotation numbers? Sounds like Guilty Bystander has the similar method.
Is this in the family?
It isn't. We shall see. We shall see. Also, damn, Vilfux emoji pronouns aren't showing up.
All right. Next up, GUI. How
GUI was so confident.
515 points. That's a significant drop, but
From 550?
It looks like it's counting.
yeah, this is also just counting. But it uses the I'll just read the notes. Before downloading the puzzle, I spent a week trying to find an optimal encoding. Researching topics like monotone gray codes, hypercube graphs, finite projective geometries, index functions on the power set. After all, this puzzle is not really about binary and scenery arithmetic, but Boolean algebra. Sadly, I couldn't find a source. Instead, I used a standard encoding, but with the second digit +1 shifted +1 modulo 6, so that, e.g., gold equals 5 in the first digit and 0 in the second digit. Hence the shipment. It would cost 1 cycle per tape loop or ARM17 to pivot the molecule back into alignment for the standard encoding. Hence the shift. This is ARM17. The conversion algorithm has almost certainly been seen already, so I won't explain it here. There are a number of weaknesses to my approach, but since they will be obvious to those in the know, I'll instead highlight some things I'm proud of. Most ARMs have at least 2 jobs. ARMs 9, where's 9? 9, 11, 12, and 17 especially noteworthy. The passing of Quicksilver waste through the 5-track river is psycho-exact. A good example is test case 10011. Alright. 6P saves 2 area by storing waste from input 5 and 6 within active machinery, requiring unique programming. Managing this without impacting the cycle count took some real creativity. The things we do for a 3-point save. The full extent of the tomfoolery is best seen in the test case All Fires. I really enjoyed this puzzle, and my first tournament in general. It had been a huge learning experience, and several of the puzzles have a special place in my heart. Thank you, Haxton, for all your hard work. Well, thank you for participating.
Wait, so is this counting? I can't tell.
Yeah, it's counting. There is a one of the atoms being gold counts less than everything else. So it's like it's counting except you took the right column of the chart and you made it what was the left.
It just like threw it over. It's transposed. All right.
Yeah, mod 6 dialed. But
oh yeah, also GUI mentioned that this hexes never use it, apparently. in my DMs, yeah.
Oh, okay. But it still uses area there. It just you wouldn't have any collision.
Arm swings
an atom
pass
there.
through it, but yeah, that's funny.
Neat.
This is the maximal waste input.
This puzzle is less about finding like the best encoding that would work mathematically, but the best encoding that would work in Opus Magnum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy to see how much things change when they go up higher.
Mm-hmm. We're seeing a lot of the same encodings, actually.
There's a lot of counting. There's a lot of people counting like 4 Quicksilver for this and then having to carry. The concept of a carry is foreign to me based on the solution that I made.
Yeah, carrying is like the most simple way to do it because you just think binary to scenery. Just do it like you would with numbers.
I wonder how many people will take someone else's encoding based on what they see in the stream today and make something really cool based on the encoding that they just saw someone else make.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't know. There's a lot of encoding. There's a lot of methods. Sometimes someone has a better idea for Opus Magnum and someone else has a better encoding. This is like an ideal teams thing, but only once you know your teammate after you've seen their initial solution.
That's what's great about this. That's what's great about this puzzle. There's just like a lot of different methods to do kind of the same thing, but not exactly the same thing.
Yeah, no, it's extraordinarily open-ended too. I wonder how low it goes. I really wonder. I think it probably goes quite a bit lower than mine.
All right. Next up, starfish. Back in the saddle.
Starfish is
Hi,
back.
Starfish.
I wonder.
A
Pinged
surprise.
him because of the pinged him because of the cycles improvements.
Looks like flipping coding.
Yeah.
Except this is done with Ravari's wheel for some reason.
A surprisingly fun and light puzzle. Spent a few minutes on a spreadsheet mapping out encodings and found a pretty nice one. If we take 4 bits and map them out to two 2-bit numbers, we can get 16 cases solved easily by counting Quicksilver by 1s and 2s, the left of the machine. The 5th bit activates some
That's a lot
special
of
logic
area.
that disables the last bit of a 2-bit number by stealing the 2's place atom, leaving 0, 1. Then it adds 4 by replacing a lead with silver, getting to 4, 5. This maps 8 more cases. The final 8 cases are using the stolen bit to instead figure out if the output should be reversed or not. This leaves all 32 cases covered, not using the 4 cases of 4, 5, 5, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5. Of course, while building the machine, I have shuffled around which input atoms actually correspond to which bits at my convenience, so the encoding looks undecipherable at a glance, but the core logic was surprisingly easy to implement.
Well, I found out that with the map, it looks very decipherable. Also, Biggie, there's static noise coming from your mic.
Oh, my air conditioning also makes sound. Okay, I'm going to turn up the input sensitivity, because if you can hear my headphones, you can hear my air conditioning. I gotta...
Do you have noise suppression on Discord?
I just upped the input sensitivity needed, so hopefully my voice doesn't cut out, but this should be better.
Alright, yeah.
Right. Next up, 15th place, Guilty Bystander.
But yeah, Starfish Solves just has a lot of waste. That's probably what's contributing to the lower sum. Not lower sum, the higher sum, but lower placement.
Short
The
version.
fuck is this?
Short version, if it really bombed or it's been seen before. 103
Well,
minus
it's
1
it.
minus 1 dot product de mod 6 plus
Guilty by
03111 dot product de mod 6.
Guilty Bystanders assumes a lot of things. We have no idea what that meant. I assume
Wait,
Wilfolk is the only other person who
does this-
understands what that
alright.
means.
Oh, the output encoding is
Strikes
taking
again.
up too many. Yeah, this is the same as Vilfuck with different constants, as in it's
Yes.
doing
Mod 6 on 2
different
Ravari's
vector
view.
shifts. Yeah, different vector shifts mod 6 based on input bits, and it is reading each bit once to perform some vector shift. It's actually really cool that you only have to do one vector shift per bit, so that it basically, if the Ravari's wheels go up, they pivot by some amount each, which does move quickly. But I don't think it moves quickly enough. I wonder if there's a faster implementation of this, because this is the smallest amount of conditions being read, but it is not the fastest Opus Magnum implementation. Like Haxton's was much faster, for example, 140 cycles.
Haxton's wasn't this. Yeah, it's not processing them fast enough.
Well, yeah, because it has to move the Rivari's wheels, do some number of pivots, move them again, do some number of pivots. Even if it only has
Yeah.
five copies of that,
The
each
problem
one
with
of them
this is that
takes
it
quite a
can't.
while.
Yeah. The problem with this is it can't do things in parallel. While all of the
Yeah.
other encodings can more easily parallelize their encodings.
Yeah, outputting everything into the disposal fast enough is hard. Like, you get 7 plus 2 plus 4 input atoms that you can just use freely, but the fact that it has a disposal and an area counts means that if you're using that many inputs, you're going to start to care more about disposal than you are about information processing.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I like how Rory's wheel gives solutions like these, though.
Yeah. Also, this wouldn't
Because
have
you
been
can just
viable.
arbitrarily.
This wouldn't have been viable if it was inverted. Like, you have to decode two atom metal into 5-atom salt and fire.
Oh yeah, that's why Guilty Bystander was saying that his solve would be very hard to do the other way around.
I see Vilfa, Calioresis, and Guilty Bystander chatting in Discord now about similar methods, and I think Calioresis is also very familiar with these vector shifts.
Mm-hmm.
But that it can apparently be done much faster than this. So me looking at this saying, oh, this isn't that fast, it isn't because of the method, it is just an implementation detail.
Yeah. Who would have thunk it? You'd have to be good at optimizing Opus Magnum to optimize Opus Magnum.
Even in terms of a fucky computation?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I heard Guilty Bystander talking about how there were computer found encodings, and I was thinking I have to
Also,
find
we
something
should-
with a computer as well, but it was different what I was looking for.
We should look at the bitmap. Oh, you skip. You're on the next solution already.
Alright.
We should try to look at the bitmaps of
Alright,
the
alright.
previous solution.
Alright. Bit 1, bit 2, bit 3, bit 4, and bit 5. Or
Oh
is it
god, my stream delay is horrible. Well, they have some kind of pattern.
some kind of, yeah.
There's a pattern there. You can see it, except for 5. 5 is a bit fucked up. It's a pattern, all right. all of the solves in this family are there's a pattern, all right.
There's some kind of pattern. It's just humans are not meant to understand what kind of pattern it is.
Yeah.
Next up is spect. Oh yeah, we also just bypassed it. We also just bypassed the 500 with Guilty Bystander, so...
Oh yeah, we're at 490 now. Anyways, this looks like flipping again.
Yeah. There's notes, I'm gonna read them. Wait a sec, though. Beast, though, you have suddenly cut off, I don't know what. I don't know if you are still online or not. I'll just read the notes. A second computation puzzle in one tourney. We are so back. Already excited about getting to see everyone else's designs. Zero separation is what I decided to call the tech for separating a pair of unknown fire salt into 4 different positions using a triplex bonder and a debonder in a lustrous syrup-like fashion, which is used around both the triplex bonders in my soul. As it turns out, conditions on pairs of atoms are just as easy as conditionals on single atoms. Since people mentioned that the puzzle is very deep, I wonder if I missed something, since my algorithm feels very simple and I could not come up with other sensible concepts. I'm excited about potentially getting to see some crazy sauce. The rest of the notes are mostly written as explanation for the host, so feel free to choose to read them out or not. And this
is period 18. This
Yeah.
is 18R. It's very fast.
Alright, you're back.
It does have waste though.
Animismus atom and
Is some. Yeah. There's animismus working, and I don't know what it's doing there. It's probably just to check 2 atoms real fast. The conditionality of 2 atoms. You know, I bet that's used to. I bet the animismus is used to tell if we should flip or not.
Yeah.
Is it used to tell if we should flip or not? I see.
Oh, disposal conditional. Alright. Alright. Atom 5 is the... Alright, I can see that atom 5 acts as a parity bit of some sorts. Acts to change the parity of some of the atoms, and yeah.
Animismus checks atom 5 to block the purification, which if the purification happens, what would happen?
If purification happens, then
you just get 10 instead.
Yes. The second atom starts with 10, not late.
Yeah.
And the projection on this is already always done in pairs, so
this solution is crazy. As animismus, as purification, as projection, as triplex. So many so many of these glyphs working
you are
together.
given all these. I'm given all these. I'm going to use these. I'm going to use all these kind of.
Yeah, where's our quintessence glyph solutions?
Yeah, but it's also using all of its inputs too, which is cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Vect is good at using what it's given. And now the cycles is lower than the area, which is always kind of a, oh wow.
Alright.
The cycles and area are on equal footing in the metric. This is faster than Haxton's, but the area is higher than some of the cycle counts we've seen, including its own.
Alright. Next up is... So this displays Hexen cluster. This is shadow clusters encoding, and I created the solve.
Okay. Shadow cluster has a break it up into 3x3s and then do something with that.
Alright. X.
What is shadow clusters encoding?
X is... Wait a sec. This is also flipped. X is A plus not B plus not or ABC plus 3D. Y is not A plus not C plus not A plus C plus not or of ABC plus 3E. So
we're back to logic gates.
It's just a pure logic gates, and
we're back to logic gates, but they're implemented as this register state.
Like this is just implemented because this is just there to like pull off the Quicksilver fast enough.
This looks so much like ideas that I tried. I feel like
this is exactly the same as my solution. All right.
Who's saying that?
No longer breathe in.
Oh.
No,
what stuff is switched around?
I feel like I could improve my solution looking at this implementation of this encoding. My encoding is better than this encoding, but my implementation is worse, except for that it is faster. Maybe this would still turn out mine is a better implementation, but this looks so familiar to me.
It sure is logic gating.
Alright, next up. Reinin. 1 point better.
Ooh. Yeah, I see Sergi and Kazian really praying for the pileup. They both want to see the other ones show up before them.
Is Kazian in chat? Oh,
Kazian's in
is,
chat.
yeah.
Kazian really just said big drop, but Sergi said, holy shit, pileup, please. I think depending on who is feeling more fear, we might know the winner.
Reinin writes, this solution is named roughly after the noise it makes. Since I ran out of good names.
Oh,
I
I
ran
can't
out
hear
of
it.
good names quite early, and other submission has such names as Bingo, Bongo, Dingo, Dango, and Sneep, Snorp. The point of the solution is to divide the labor between the 5 input bits as cleanly as possible. The first bit controls a +3 promotion to the bottom metal. The second bit controls a +3 promotion to the top metal. The third bit controls a +1 promotion to the bottom metal. The fourth bit controls a +2 promotion to the top metal. The fifth bit is a bit more complicated. Wait, this is the fifth bit, I think? No.
It should be the 5th bit. It's the 5th processed bit.
Yeah. Okay. If the fourth bit was off, it grants a +1 promotion to the top metal. If the fourth bit was on, it reverses the output. This makes it hard to explain what the actual encoding is, but if you write it out, it becomes clear that bits 3, 4, 5 pretty nicely map to 2 digits of base 3 this way. I considered several other approaches, including a more obvious counting mechanism, but none of them seemed quite this clean. I also originally wanted to do this with lead and quicksilver instead of Ravaric's wheel, but that was surprisingly difficult, so here we are. The funny result of this choice is that the solution is almost running the disposal at full rate. With all 5 bits on, 22 out of every 28 cycles are used for disposal. Let's see that.
Goddamn.
That presented
That
some
disposal
rather
being slammed.
funny timing problems that I had to solve to get it this fast. As for predictions, I have a suspicion that the primary value can go under 400. I know that the way to do computation puzzles these days, especially quickly, is with a state machine TM, but I couldn't really think of a good use for one in this puzzle. There are so many possible approaches though, that it can probably go a good deal below my score of 441. However, 441 is a perfect square, so I'm happy. Overall tournament notes. Well, this brings us to the end of my first Opus Magnum tournament. I feel like I've improved quite significantly since the beginning of the tournament, which is funny, since by far my best placement was week 1 latency. My goal for next year is top 10 overall. Thanks Haxton for hosting a fantastic tournament, and thanks to everyone else for impressing me so much with a variety of ludicrously successful and sometimes not so successful ideas. I learn something every week, and I think this community is fantastic in its intellectual curiosity and friendliness. It's been a great couple months. See you all in the weeklies. Reinin. Thank you for participating.
Really appreciate Reinin.
Alright. Next up. Fiesta.
Oh, wow.
Fiesta. And 12.
Top 3 player
439
Fiesta.
points. That's
or
2
top 5.
points. That's 2 points less than the previous one.
The pile-ups. The pile-ups.
I have never managed to achieve clever and efficient in OM computation algorithms, so I've chosen to embrace straightforward and comprehensible, which I can. In this instance, that means I aimed for a simple conversion from binary, where salt represents 0 and fire 1, to base 6, where lead is 0 and gold is 5. The implementation logic is pretty straightforward too. I process the input one atom digit per digit at a time, starting from the largest magnitude, and track its effect on both the units digit and sixes digit on the output, assuming a baseline of 00 lead. In the theme of straightforward and comprehensible, I reached for Ravari's wheel as a ready-made register. Changing the units digit is simply a matter of rotating the wheel some number of times, value mod 6, and tracking 6 is merely a question of counting how many full rotations the wheel does, aka carries, value divided by 6. Yes, basically just counting on my fingers like a kindergartner, hence the subtitle. The main challenge with this method is keeping track of carries. The largest binary digit, 16, always results in 2 carries, and the second largest, 8, always results in 1 carry. But when you have both together, 24, there will be 4 carries, not 3. Unlike for units, it is not enough to handle each digit in isolation. I resolved the carries logic with the mess of wanting conditionals on the left. Each of the fire binary digits, except the smallest, generates some amount of quicksilver, which is used to conditionally project lid based on what previous digits were also fire. After attach this projected metal to whatever spoke of Ravari's wheel we rotated to, and Bob's your uncle. However, I did make one departure from straightforward. A fully correct carry calculation was annoyingly complicated, so I leveraged the fact that we don't need all 36 possible metal cases. Hence the unit digit of my encoding is perfectly normal for a base 6 conversion, but the 6's has oddities in the top half. It produces copper only in 4 cases, silver in 4, gold in 4, and gold plus 1 in 2, but gold plus 1 in projection is still gold, so it all works out.
So it's just counting with a bit of it's a bit fucked up in the top.
It's counting, except Opus Magnum rewards thinking a little bit differently.
Yeah.
I like how ARM6 has the goal of suppressing the Ravari wheel input, and that is the only purpose for the Saltfire 2 atom input. It is just there to suppress with.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
Calioresis, me too. It's just so interesting how much state space there was in this. I like seeing a lot of state space. I didn't see as much as I wanted, but also there is so much that you could do in this puzzle.
Mm-hmm. We need an ultimate best solve after this week.
Yeah, no, I might still try to finish my sat solver and see if I can make that. There's a lot.
There's a paragraph.
There's more notes under the notes.
There's paragraph.
Oh, there's a paragraph
detailing the logic, internal logic, which I will not read. And there's another piece of note underneath. Otherwise, all my work was on standard sum optimization. I ran this algorithm as fast as 114 cycles and as cheap as 400 costs, but this machine here struck the best balance. I did muse about how fast a triplex fire register could go. In this Ravari's wheel machine, I need 6 cycles to evaluate each digit, grab, pivot, rotate, drop, return. By switching to a salt equals 1 encoding for units, I could reduce that to 4 cycles at noticeable additional expense. Meanwhile, triplex fire registers can capture up all that logic in 2 cycles, or a lower bound of 75 cycles overall, so the only competitive advantage I'm gaining with this method is the simplicity of reading out from the register at the end, which can be managed entirely with existing machinery, which is hardly even worth mentioning, since I also need to either spend significantly on waste removal or accept an even more costly waste chain. But you know what? I don't care. I didn't feel like implementing a fire register. The setup and movement encoding I could visualize well enough, as it wasn't much different from the wheel, but figuring out how to read the result felt super annoying. I'm content to wait and see what other folks do it. Amaze me wizards. Last and certainly not least, thank you for so very much, Haxton, for running a great event and being such an excellent stream host. Thank you. All right. All right. Next up.
11th place, we have whip noises.
Also, to
Whip
Which
noises
was
sound
certain
horrible with.
he was next, but Fiesta was next, so it's a pile-up. We take pile-ups.
We take pile-ups. This also looks like counting, but fucked up.
It's cool that it's using only 3 atoms of Rivari's wheel.
I guess
this is a binary to base 6
I guess-
conversion with 2 tweaks. 1. The first atom is worth 18 instead of 16. This allows me to increase the 6s without worrying about the 1s. The force pair cases in the output molecule allowed me to do this without any issues. 2. The input is read out of order as 18-4-A-2-1. This flows better in the mechanism. Let's see. 18, 8, 4, 2, and 1. Okay. If the input is all salt, the output will be lead-lead. Here's the logic for each atom of the input molecule. If it is fire, atom 1, the 6th atom starts on copper rather than lead, plus 18. Atom 2, a quicksilver is saved for later. The Y molecule is rotated clockwise, plus 4. Atom 3, the 6th atom is projected, plus 6, and atoms 3 and 4, the Y molecule is rotated anti-clockwise, plus 2. If there was a saved quicksilver, we must have added 6. So the 6th atom is projected, equivalent to carrying the 1. Atom 5, the 1 atom is projected, plus 1. Thanks everyone for another great tournament. I have mad respect for you all. And thanks for having me.
It's a counting solve with largely the same optimizations that we've heard of before, but done better.
I didn't think of mine as a counting solve, but in terms of like treating it like one, it makes sense too. So there's so many ways to even think about the same solution, which is also crazy. I did not think in terms of counting at all, but now I'm thinking like, would I be able to describe mine as a counting solution? Yes. Yes, I would.
We'll see when we get to it.
All right, top 10.
It'll come up eventually. Top 10, let's go.
Don't tell me I win. Please don't tell me I win. That would actually bother me. I don't want to know that I have the best thing. I want to see what someone else made that beats what I have.
All right.
Oh, well, this one looks weird and fucked up. What is this?
10th place, JPIP. No, this is also... I think
Is this
is
counting?
also counting, yeah.
Is it? Damn, okay.
I wanted to run the machine pretty much constantly pulling Quicksilver, but evaluation of the state machine takes a long time.
Oh, it's
pains
counting
me.
with a register stick. Okay.
It's like the shadow cluster counting, or the shadow Haxton.
Yeah.
Haxton cluster counting.
I theorize
Yeah.
maybe some heavy reworking could save 20-30 on this, so I won't be too surprised if the top solves are sub 400. I'm excited to see how I'm blown out of the water. The first 2 bits are +3 on each of the high and low order digits on the output. So
Yeah,
the
this is
first
just
2
counting,
bits,
but it's using wanding instead, so it's faster.
Yeah.
It's counting, but it wands, so it's faster. Yeah, that's it.
Then the remaining 3 bits have 8 cases, so we just need a mapping from those 3 bits to 8 output cases. The mappings are restricted to base 3 as required by the partition space, so you can imagine the 3 bits counting up in binary, while at the same time you have 2 digits counting up in base 3 to 00 to 21. So the orders are in 214 according to the notes. So this is the 4-bit, 2, and 1, which can be seen clearly in the... in the diagram. State machine concept is pulled from past computations, although it's only really used as a state machine for the last 3 bits. The first two utilize a stick but are not a part of setting state. I won't go into precisely how it works since this is already long, so hopefully host can explain it or someone else with a similar scope has already shown the idea.
I'm trying to convert this into pure counting. Does it effectively add 18, 7, 6, 3, 1, depending on each of the bits?
I don't think the second bit has defined value. I don't know. Is it 9?
I mean, so 18 and 3 is actually add 3 to one, add 3 to the other.
Yeah.
7
I
is
feel
add
like
1 to both. 6 is add 1 to one, and 1 is add 1 to the other. Yes, first 2 bits partition the space, but in the partition space, you could consider that to be adding 7 if you're adding 1 to both, adding 6 if you're adding 1 to the more significant bit, and adding 1 if you're adding 1 to the less significant bit.
I guess it's literally adding 3, but it doesn't
Yeah.
clearly convert to true binary bits, something like that.
I'm gonna
this
open
is
up
base 3
idle
counting,
and
yeah.
answer my own question in idle, or maybe even Wolfram, because I know how to use partition function quicker.
All right, next up. Oh yeah, this was also a weird one.
Oh boy, more weird solves. 9th place, we have SpiritualShampoo. I bet this solve has no notes.
There was a point in time where this had notes, but like in the previous iteration he wrote notes consisting of exactly 18 quote-unquote words. I'll read it here. SS equal PB, SF equal SN, S equal FE,
That's not difficult for you.
FS equal CU, FF equal AG, F equal AU.
Yes, very, very understandable.
Okay,
Yes,
what I thought, I was able to confirm that
very
it
helpful.
wasn't true.
Thank you, SpiritualShampoo. Very helpful.
Also, Vicky, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I just learned that there is a carry in what JPiv did, and so what I was thinking was the encoding isn't quite true. Because when you're
I
doing
see.
the base 3 counting, you still have to carry if your 2 adds too much.
So yeah, the solution sure is speaking for itself. It's saying something. I don't know what it's saying.
Mm-hmm. I'm willing to skip this soap because just to spite SpiritualShampoo.
It's not fast enough for its score. Unfortunate.
Mm. Like
Okay. So Shampoo and Fiesta have both placed already, then I am holding strong in fourth.
So as much as I can tell, this is that all sorts are the default. No wait, like there's a default encoding where this is fully projected, and then it conditionally removes some number of quicksilvers depending on the input. So that's as much as I could understand. 5th bit, 4th bit, 3rd bit, 2nd bit, and 1st bit. Alright. This solution does not
Well,
speak for itself. All right.
it's speaking. We just don't understand what it's saying. It's speaking in Cantonese or something.
Next up, Mr. Puzzle. 2 points better than the previous one.
Wow, the pileup is insane above
The
400.
pileup.
How many people actually get sub 400? It's not as many as it seemed.
Not quite sub 400. Oh well. The input has 5 bits and the output has a left metal and a right metal. The input encoding works like this. Start with tin, which is all salts output. If the rightmost bit is fire, then the right metal starts as lead instead. If the middle bit is fire, then the left metal starts as lead instead. If the middle right bit is fire, then we do 2 projections. Normally, this will project the left metal once and the right metal once. Is it this one? No. The exception is if we currently have lead. In this case, we hiccup the projections, so both go to the left metal. This prevents something fire from mapping to the same output as something salt. If the leftmost bit is fire, then the right metal gets 3 projections. If the middle left bit is fire, then the left metal gets 3 projections. Nice and simple, I think. Purification is used so the solve isn't limited by Quicksilver as much. Additionally, blocking the lead input is a little faster than wanding lead around. So that's why the all salt state is tin instead of lead.
Yeah, there's a purification conditional, which is funny. Having a purification conditional is completely reasonable, but also funny.
Is it doing conditionals?
Yeah,
Or
no,
is it
it's
just making
blocking.
tin?
No, it's blocking the lead input so that it might be trying to purify salt, or it might be trying to purify lead and fire instead of lead and lead. In which case, it doesn't make tin; it makes lead. If you set the
Ah.
rightmost bit to fire, you'll see it not successfully make purification.
Oh, that kind of purification. Conditional,
I
just
see.
blocking the output.
No, it's not blocking the output at all. It's
Oh.
suppressing the lead input. Like you can watch
I
Arm
see.
8 grabs a fire and puts it onto purification because it's not it's suppressed a fire instead of a lead.
I see. So, in a way, it's more so suppression conditionals, but it affects the purification.
Yes, yeah. Purification itself is used unconditionally, but the atoms that go on it might be input suppressed.
Mhm.
Imagine input suppressing single atom inputs. This brainworm brought to you by the fact that we still haven't seen what was the Cadspin method from week 4 in any of these solutions.
Oh yeah, no suppression yet.
Conditionally wanting to use Quicksilver was a thing in week 4, you guys.
Wow, we've got 7 solves to go.
Alright, next up. Evernote.
How quickly everybody just forgot suppression conditionals.
Wait a sec. Is this a...
Oh, we're sub
Hey,
400.
we're sub 400.
Yes.
Good job, Evanov. Oh, it's what I was looking for. This is what I was looking for with the SAT solver. What the fuck? It works. Oh my god, I was looking for a register stick like this that would like soak Quicksilver into a bunch of metals and discard a bunch of them, and this works. Oh my god, this makes me feel like all the Python coding I did is useless because it works and what I was able to make didn't work. JPiv is thinking the same thing. Because JPiv was in Discord chat saying, oh, I tried to use a SAT solver too and I couldn't get it working. And I was thinking, I tried to use a SAT solver and couldn't get it working. And JPiv and I settled on very similar looking bit encodings. But this is the golden thing that we were looking for. So Quicksilver, and depending on the register stick, it just makes it come out differently. high enough entropy to
Except
make
your
this
solve
work.
happens to, except your solve just happens to be better than this one that you were looking so hard for.
Yeah, that's also true, but still, this makes me happy. Let me be happy, this. Let me be happy.
Can we see the encoding? Can we see the bit filters or the encoding map? It looks somewhat patterned. Looks somewhat
First bit,
organized.
second bit, third bit, fourth bit, and fifth bit. I don't know.
I
This
wonder,
shaving,
is this
this
found manually or was this found by computer?
Who knows? We're gonna have to ask Evanov. But Evanov seemed to be like finally when they when they found it as well.
encoding explained. Bit 2 and 4 are simple parity driving one quicksilver each, and bit 1, 3, and 5 influences 2 quicksilver each. In a sense, this reduces the encoding space into 8 cases for 3x3 metals. The magic happens on the last check, where the third pair of quicksilver may fall on 3 different places. So the last 2 checks. All right. And then there's a table. Bit 1, bit 3 output so far. If bit 5 is salt, if bit 5 is fire. All right. I don't think reading this table would be productive, so I'll just skip it. This as Boolean
No,
functions.
it is not.
Functions are not too bad to implement. ARM3 salt tubes from bit 1 and bit 3, and triplex bonds onto bit 5. This triplex bonded salt is carried to the main checking station, and ARM12 picks it up and moves the stick by 2. ARM2 salt tubes from bit 1 and tubes onto bit 5. So when bit 1 is fire and bit 5 is salt, ARM8's known fire moves the stick by 1. I'm too tired at this moment to explain why Turing machine is a good idea. The fun thing here is that this solve is twice inverted Turing machine. On where state and output meets, previously seen patterns have state stick right to output, but here the stationary quicksilver projects metals on the stick like a typewriter. On where input and state meets, previously seen patterns have input bits on the stick of mostly known fires, or salts when a certain state doesn't want to be moved, but here known fires won the input bits on state stick. With these two inversions, the machine looks more like some assembly line. Machine runs at 22 rate and the sole bottleneck is ARM7. It seems that taking its work away requires a new ARM which gets some plus 20 cost minus 5 cycles plus 1 area.
This is exactly the style of solution that I dreamed up on day 1, and then I spent 13 days failing to find anything that worked. So I'm so happy to see this. I wanted this kind of solution to win, and I wonder if there is going to be more like it. But for now, I just am really happy to see it work at all.
Well, we'll see how far we can push this with the community as a whole.
Yeah, because this runs fast, but the problem is, at least as it's currently implemented, it has a lot of glyphs, a lot of arms, and there's a disposal limit at the end too, where it has to dispose so much stuff.
Yeah.
And I could tell mine would require disposing a lot of stuff, which was making me a little apprehensive. I was trying to dream, like, what would the stats be if the solution was I actually made it? And I guessed sub 400, but I had then made a sub 400 a different way. I don't know if anything gets sub 300. Find that out later.
Alright, next up, 6th place, Coco 52. 388 points.
Okay.
What is this encoding?
Atom 1 fire, plus 3 quicksilver to project output left. Atom 2 fire, plus 3 quicksilver to project output right. Atom 3 fire, plus 1 quicksilver to project output left. And then this atom waits on the other triplex. Atom 4 fire, plus 1 quicksilver to project output left. And plus 1 quicksilver to project output right. also removes atom 3 if both fire, atom 5 fire if atom 3 fire, and atom 4 not fire. +1 quicksilver to project output left, else +1 quicksilver to project output right.
Okay, so it has an A and not B condition that is used for switching which of the two is projected.
So it's
Okay.
kind of like it's kind of like Haxton cluster solve.
Yeah.
Now this is so similar to my encoding, and the implementation is way slicker. I say way slicker. I can't tell what's slick anymore. I guess mine's gonna look small on screen. I really like ARM 6 and 7 though to create the wandable metals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is this what, period 30?
29.
Okay. $33. Okay.
33.
Cuckoo
Okay.
knows.
Cuckoo 52 is here to answer us.
So it is attempting ARM 8 is attempting 11 projections. I wasn't sure if it was attempting 10 or 11.
Mm-hmm.
If atom 3 is fire, this atom waits on the another triplex, and then atom 4 removes that fire. Okay. If atom 4 is not fire,
10 with gaps.
yeah. All right. Next up is Biggie.
All right, I'm 5th.
Oh, well, there it is.
Cool. So yeah, I did try really hard to make what basically Ebanov made. I used the SAT solver. I spent a lot of days writing Python code. It didn't work. And then I made a period 27-bit machine. I didn't think of it in terms of counting, but there's a bit that increments the left by 3. There's a bit that increments the right by 3. There's a bit that increments the left by 1. There's 2 bits that each increment the right by 1. And then there's an A and not B of those final 2 bits that also increments the right by 1 again and then flips the output. So it is a flip encoding. But only...
Flip encoding. That barely looks like a flip encoding.
Yeah, it has 6 bits. Basically, the 5 input bits are used as is, and then there's a single bit that's conjured up as A and not B of the right 2 input bits. And A and not B will determine if it does 1 extra projection and flips the output. And because what I'm using bits for isn't to cause projections, but to reject projections, there's a lot of spare quicksilver. So A and not B, there's always going to be a quicksilver available. And when there's a quicksilver available, I just use it. So I don't need to spend an extra cycle grabbing that 10th quicksilver. ARM 1 has rejected enough quicksilver at this point. I wrote a lot of notes. I can read them, you can read them. Most of my notes are lamenting how much time I wasted.
You're here. You can read them. Probably.
All right. Yeah, my notes read, I wrote a SAT solver. Well, I tried to write a SAT solver. I wanted to find a way to drop 8 or 9 quicksilver onto a stick of metal with conditional shifts so that it would have a unique recoverable pair in each possible stick. I found a way with 9 with unique pairs in each stick, but recovering them was awful because they weren't at a known position. I knew this wouldn't even be a great solution because the sticks have to be rebuilt each output, and it could run at period 16 or 18, which is really fast. But I gave up on the stream. I gave up way too late because my SAT solver wasn't working as I expected, and I sat down and I tried out bits instead. First bit rejects 1 quicksilver from metal 1. Second bit rejects 1 quicksilver from metal 1. Third bit rejects 3 quicksilver from metal 1. Fourth bit rejects 1 quicksilver from metal 2. Fifth bit rejects 3 quicksilver from metal 2. Then 1 additional bit, which represents bit 1 and not bit 2, is used to flip the output and project metal 1 an additional time. I found this pretty quickly when looking into direct bits, but it was less than 48 hours before the deadline, and I felt dumb having not spent my time better. It runs at period 27. there are two different cases, one of which adds 11 area and one which adds 12 latency, but they fall on different inputs, so the worst case absorbs all of the waste into latency. I had another version that used the CAD spin tech from week 4 of Quicksilver suppression, but in that case, it was really hard to get the conditional Quicksilver for the last condition with the flip. At best, it would be about 100 gold cheaper, 20 cycles slower, effectively a wash. So I didn't finish it out. To tell the truth, last night I gave up at like 7 p.m. and decided I'm not going to stay up late trying to make another thing.
You gotta be up for the stream.
Yeah, I'm going to wake up at 6 instead. I'm going to have a better night than just staring at a computer screen until I have a headache and then waking up early to do it again. So I do think that there's a 350 out there if I finished out the CAD spin version of this, where it didn't have to do so much disposal because, oh my god, there's so much disposing going on in this solution. Not as much as I think it was JPIVs, but there's a lot of disposing going on.
Mhm.
Hey, Transcendental Guy has the solve I didn't make, the CAD spin version of this. Thanks, Transcendental Guy. I'll get to see that later. I hope it's 350. Yeah, this is a flip case. If you wanted to look at a non-flip case, you switch the rightmost 2 bits to any other pair. I don't know. I was eyeballing 350. I don't know what it would actually be. It would be about 200 cycles. It would be about 450 cost. So 450 over 5 is 90 plus 200 cycles is 290, and then the area. So if you keep the area low, like not having to have so many arms for disposal could mean that's like 70 area, 60 area. It's cool that the top 3 and Transcendental Guy are the remaining 4.
All right. Next up.
I kept my 4th place with this.
All right. Next up. Kazian.
Oh shit.
Cause yeah.
Oh,
Well,
shit.
That decides the overall placements.
Sturgy wins the fucking thing. But also, Kazian made something awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a sec. I did encoding. Reset to wildcards. Don't save encoding. General idea. This is a heavy modification of binary counting to convert between bases, interpreting each metal as a digit in base 6. The metals are however many Quicksilver you need to promote lead into the metal. Imagine splitting the 6x6 squares of possibilities into 4 quadrants. This consumes 2 bits, leaving 3 bits to be packed into each of the 3x3 squares. The base conversion problem becomes smaller. 3 bits into 2 trits. You can add to a digit with the glyph of projection and do carry math with Quicksilver sticks. Everything is fine. Now imagine drawing the borders of the quadrants differently in order to be cracked and save 1 Quicksilver. That's my encoding. The quadrants are 1. The even-odd parity of the left middle digit, and 2. Whether the right digit is closer to gold or to lead. So if you rearrange those to put them all together, you could see the base 3 math, but just enjoy the pretty chart Hexton made instead, because this stream is getting long. Instead of carrying the 1 when a base 3 digit rolls over, I carry the 2. This lets me stay in the correct even-odd parity of the left middle. To do carry math, I build a stick of up to 4 Quicksilver and conditionally disassemble it to project to correct digits. This is way more feasible with small sticks than it is with long base 6 ones. I'll spare you the details. The reason I don't simply do the binary counting in base 6 where I get to use more convenient presence-absence conditionals on gold is that this way requires less Quicksilver and cycles are kinda important. The binary counting in base 6 can take as little as 13 Quicksilver with good strategy. This weird slicing and double carrying only takes 10 Quicksilver. I built several designs. Pure base 6 came out to 399 weighted sum, and an 11 Quicksilver idea with more sensible quadrants comes out to 377. Rate notes. This design's rate is limited to 3 per Quicksilver, which is 30. My actual rate is 32 if we pretend this loose. The fire reader chokes slightly on the 2 bits that only inject 1 quicksilver each. Alright.
So this is like advanced counting.
Yeah. No, this is the quadrants, but the quadrants are interspersed with
Ah,
each
yeah.
other. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Still an amazing solve by Kazuya. Kazuya was in first place for most of the week.
Yeah.
But then the top 3 came in and beat him out.
Alright. Next up, 3rd place. Transcendental Guy. Edit encoding. Alright.
Unreasonably slow.
The name
Transcendental
is
Guy's first
the
podium.
first podium. The name is because I only ever considered making 20R, 30R, or 36R, and I believe this will be beaten by a 20R solve. My 20R never materialized it because anything I put on the board looked way too expensive. Now let me explain the logic of the solve. You can skip it if it already appeared before. Let me see. Yeah, this is quadrants.
As it looks
This is
recognizable.
quadrants, but this is also quadrants, but it is interspersed with each other also. So, like each 2x2 square that contains all four quadrants, and A adds 1 to x, B adds 1 to y, C add 2 to y, D add 2 to x, E add 2 to x and y unless C and D are solved, in which case add 4 to x. To implement this, we use ARM6 to check for C or D and adjust the placement of one of the fire atoms associated with E depending on the result. The period is 36 because the Quicksilver hexagon takes pseudo period 4 to unload the previous 6 atoms and pseudo period 3 for the rest of the projections, for an average of pseudo period 3.6. We can't 6p it to avoid the fast unloading at pseudo period 4 because I paid just enough to get period 4 reloading. Highlights. You may want to highlights arms 5 and 6 reuse the logic debonder to deliver the conditional fire atom in a single swing and insert the non-conditional atom from E into the correct position. Arms 3 and 4 use the fire input as a conditional input. Alright. Arm 9 delivers the output as soon as possible while building the next string at the same time. This has a single restriction on which bits can affect which half of the string, but I decided to just always alternate. 6p is used to allow Arm 8 to deliver a Quicksilver one cycle earlier without worrying about Arm 10 grabbing one of its atoms. Arm 9 is in a spot where it needs to dodge some collisions from Arm 8. This was an attempt to have Arm 7 help Arm 9 to become a simple arm. This is what is Arm 9? The numbers are mixed around, I think. Alright. Alright, going through the bits again. And next up,
It took us all the way to it took us all the way to 3rd place to see input suppression again, even though it was so prominent in week 4.
True.
What's interesting is that if ARM 8 had a fire input on the basically, if ordered clockwise around arm 8, there was Quicksilver input, projector, fire input, then you could run it at period 3 because you would conditionally steal the fires before they suppress the Quicksilver, which in turn makes this fast enough to be more competitive.
Yeah, but the fire input was used in the top left already.
Well, what if you didn't?
What if you didn't?
Simply,
True.
what if you didn't? I think there's a combination of I think there's a combination of my solution and this solution that goes below 350, but I don't know how much better it gets in the top 2. Callie and Sergi have something else.
All right. Next up, second place.
Drum roll.
Drum roll. It's Calyris's.
My hands are tied.
Wow, Sergi wins. Sergi's
wins
win
outright.
is capped by a win. All right, wins by a win.
Oh yeah, the
356 is cool. Oh, when it got Rivari's wheel. Is this like a guilty bystander family?
yes. Oh, it's similar.
Nice.
But yes, basically the same. And like, I'll read the notes. My encoding schema is based around addition mode 6 for each bit. Each bit is associated with numbers 0 to 5 for each metal, which gets added if the bit is 1. I wrote a program to search for the numbers and that result in valid encodings. My first solutions implemented this using 2 Rivari's wheels, which were bonded together and got wounded by the fires to trigger some number of pivots on each wheel as they are reset. I then made some modifications to this basic encoding schema to allow for better implementation. For the second metal, a bit will be skipped if the previous bit was 1. This naturally happens if resetting the metal takes longer than one pseudo period. The other property I wanted was for the maximum sum on the second metal to never exceed 5, which allows for Quicksilver to easily be used instead of Rivari's wheel. This required never skipping the last bit or the third bit, since otherwise no encodings were found with this property. Some other nice properties that just happened to work out were that the largest number added to the second metal was 2, and there were zeros for bits 1 and 3. Both of these properties help with timings. The final modification was inverting the last bit, which is completely equivalent but was easier to do with my final machine. There are multiple encodings which match the above description, so I had some other heuristics to narrow them down based on what is easiest for my machine. The final encoding schema. Add to the wheel metal for each bit 2, 1, 1, 3, 1. Add to the projectant metal for each bit, skipping if the previous bit was 1 and not skipped. The last bit is inverted and never skipped. 20201.
I love that you let us choose our own encodings. People are so good at finding cool shit.
Mm. Also,
what would the encoding have been had you forced it?
Indeed. What the forced encoding?
It was an entirely different puzzle.
The plan C, it was like binary to hexamore, straight up.
Okay. Rip. I'm glad there's so much more room for expressive creativity here.
Me too. Yeah, the allowing arbitrary encoding was like so better for this puzzle. Alright. Let's look at what Sergi made. Minus 20 points.
What? He said it was close. He said it was close. He is so good at this game.
This looks like flip encoding.
This is flip encoding.
just flipping. Just flipping coding. Flipping coding wins apparently. But Surgery G says there was some sauce. What's the sauce?
The source is that it's just assembly line.
It's an assembly. It's doing flip with an assembly line. The purification. What does the purification do?
It tests if the first two atoms were both fire. I think.
What? No, that's not what purification does.
Well, I mean, if the first two atoms are both fire, then it'll get pulled along so that the two leads go on the purification at the same time.
It's explained in the
what was
notes.
it?
Yeah, let's read the notes then.
The note is like, how long is it? 966 words. This will take a while.
Good luck.
First of
Ganbatte.
all, I'd like to thank Caxton for organizing this tournament. It was really fun and puzzle design was on point. I was forced to 6p the solution to save 7 weighted sums. There should be a clean looping solve in my previous submissions. This solution decides the tournament and I expect Kazian to score exceptionally well. I just hope this approach is enough to give me the win. The better alchemist may win. Encoding and explanation. I expect many people use this encoding family as I consider it pretty strong. The encoding goal is to minimize operations on the final product and avoid destructive operations that will slow down the machine. This encoding belongs to a family that uses 2 pairs of bits to encode binary to single-digit base 4, and the last bit is used to perform additional operations that distinguish numbers from 16 to 31. In my specific solve, the first 2 atoms and last 2 atoms are used to perform binary to base 4, and the middle atom is used for additional shenanigans. This also means flipping the input should do nothing on the output. I use a sliding technique for the whole input. I bond the 2 output metals to the stick in the leftmost side of the binary pair. If the first atom right is fire, the metal gets pushed early into the projection grid and gets projected once, otherwise the projection is missed. If the second atom left is fire, the metal gets pushed out of the projection early, otherwise it gets projected twice. This means that fire salt is lead, no projections, fires tin, 1 projection, salt is iron, 2 projections, salt fires copper, 3 projections. By bonding both metals, we have successfully encoded 16 cases without destroying any information, and requiring only 3 operations per binary pair. If the middle atom is salt, nothing happens, and both metals are outputted. If it is fire, the shenanigans begin. Like with binary to base 4, if the middle atom is fire, the first metal gets pushed early so it can be grabbed and suffer additional transformations. Otherwise, it'll just get bonded and outputted normally. Now we have 4 special cases. Either the received atom is lead, tin, iron, or copper. Since all the combinations from lead to copper are already covered, this atom needs to convey information by becoming gold-silver. I chose to do this by projecting the atom and conditionally flipping the final output. This means I only need to project to gold-silver once by making the solve fast. If the metal is copper-lead, it'll get flipped, otherwise it won't. First, I purify lead so it can be distinguished from the other metals. Then I project the metal 3 times. This results in either gold plus quicksilver if it was copper, gold if it was iron, and silver if it was tin, or lead as it was projected. Since the silver that came from lead is grabbed by a different arm, it can be distinguished and used to not flip the output. To distinguish between the gold that came from copper and other 2 metals, I use the fact that there is a spare quicksilver if the gold came from copper to pull it out early. This encoding only needs to project 9 times and purify once, and some operations can be parallelized, saving a lot of cycles. I may have missed spicier encodings, who knows. Interesting inputs for showcasing. Middle is salt. Any combo of atoms shows how the metal bond and output without shenanigans. Something something fire salt. Most complex case purifies lead, does not flip output. Fire salt fire. Use spare quicksilver to extract gold. Fire salt gold is not extracted. Implementation comments. The metal diversity for purification looks awful, but using robotics wheel was too expensive and weighed some. 7 area plus arms needed to handle it. Also, arms 2 and 9 do nothing in comparison to the others, but slowing down the machine harms weighted sum, since one more rate is 6 weighted sum and one arm is just 5 weighted sum. I think the implementation of this family of encodings, and this encoding in particular, is pretty on point, but the sheer depth of the puzzle makes me unable to gauge how well it'll score. There may be slower but cheaper and smaller solves that beat this one, but for me it was impossible to test everything. I went for a fast and smaller solve because it seems like cost does not impact scoring as much as cycles. Through hours of tinkering, I was able to save 40 weighted sum from the initial version of this solve. Testing a different approach and managing to bring it down to a polished state in the given time was not feasible for me. I like it that I could alter the encoding to improve weighted sum as the position of the input atoms does matter, so the puzzle tests the ability of players to play with the encoding in their favor. Final remarks. The tournament was very enjoyable, and thanks to the weekend format, I had enough time to submit solves I was happy with. Regardless of placing first or second, I'm not sure if I'll participate next year, as it is very time consuming and I know I'm unable to participate without actively trying to win. I'm grateful for this community and the effort they make to organize these kinds of events. Best regards, Sujidi.
In the time it took to
That was
read
a
that,
lot of
Bist updated the standings. The Sergi D is now confident sit in first place.
I will need
With
to check
all
if all the
things
scores are
filled.
still correct, though. I will have to run everything again to make sure nothing's been altered
The top
previously.
7 all remained unchanged by this.
Transcendental Guy, if you disregard the HG soap by Hello Jasper, then yes.
I think the top 9 didn't change. Maybe the top 10 didn't change. Can you go back? Did the top 10 remain completely the same between before this and
no,
then
wait
this?
a sec. Wait a sec. Yeah. No longer breathed in has 340 cost soap.
Yeah, Sergi's so dominant this tournament. It's amazing. Kazian being right there at the very end is like, there weren't as many wins on Kazian's tournament streak, but 3 second place, 3 third place, and 1 win in the weighted sum metric. Or no, the regular sum metric. Kazian and Sergi D, a very strong top.
Alright. There's no next puzzle. See you all in the weeklies, but there's 3 showcase solves.
Okay, I was hoping for showcase.
By X-Sucker Triple 8. I didn't realize the output could only be metal. The intention was to split the input into 2 sticks of 3, each stick corresponding to 1 atom of the output, which could be one of 8 types. Using salt as 1 and fire as 0, if the stick is 11x, output x. Otherwise, the number is at most 101, which is 5. Output a metal with that many quicksilver added. Alright. Alright, that's the salt output it. Alright. Next up is Kevalan. 76 cycles. This was the fastest solve submitted that conformed to the rules. My only goal was
this shit.
My only goal on this was to
76 fucking
Yeah.
cycles.
My only goal on this was to achieve pseudo period 8, and it is done. There's a lot left unoptimized. I procrastinated a lot because I never developed a clean way to deal with all the extra atoms flying around. This was actually my first solution, and pseudo period 8 was what caused me to develop the encoding I used in my scoring soul. The binary coded metal encoding can be done in 3 parallel pipelines, each running a pseudo period 8. For this solution, the template atoms are really quite limiting. Having only 1 quicksilver, 1 lead, and 1 atomic fire was a big problem that really constrained the solution space. The placement of the various inputs along the axis between the 2 main pipelines felt quite forced. Finally, a video codec that can encode in real time. Alright. And finally, Kazian. Peer review.
What?
What is it?
What is this? Oh, this is Sergi D's profile picture.
It now desyncs forever.
The notes. The notes. Overheard at the banquet. It's been another successful alchemical symposium. I think the limit of 200 attendants works well. The session holders are grand and all of the peer reviewers are on top of their game. Well, yes, I've been high profile this year. It's strange to think. I suppose my work on Critellium last year caught enough interest to get an invitation. No, none of my replications were the best. That's not why I gathered attention. It's been about consistency. You're probably thinking of Sergi D? He even matched my replication of Antonio Ravari's work with an alternative. I think Sergi is your safest bet for the best machines per se. He is my fiercest peer reviewer. He so often finds something that I miss. It's been an honor to stand out alongside him, really. Oh, you should see some of his hyper etching designs with the glyphs on top of each other so they destroy your tiles. I think I have a few old tiles on my transmutation engine that I need to get rid of. Anyway, here I'll show you after the banquet.
I love this. I love the
Amazing
respect
work.
for this. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it. That's for this tournament.
Thank you all for coming.
Thanks for having me. Thank you for commentating. Thanks for participating, everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
This has been amazing.
And thanks to the playtesters too.
Well, I barely did any playtesting. I'm mainly an AHK person and spreadsheet person this year, I feel.
So yeah, see you.
Another successful tournament.
Another successful tournament. See you in the weeklies.
Peace.
Be seeing y'all. Bye. Deletes puzzle.